across the court like that, but fortunately they missed us and we're back into our funk hole again, back there. And we get back there, and when the infantry mob had set up a Bren gun right at the end of our trench then, so that was there till the finish. Yeah, that was a place called Firestone Park.
Now, did you have a support group, a group of mates that kept stuck together, or a particular mate?
No, only little Frankie Townsend and I, because I was a corporal. Well, I was only a lance corporal, but I should have been promoted, but they reckon all the records were lost, so I didn't get any promotion when I got home. But the corporals were in, I forget what Kumai it was. Anyway, Frankie Townsend was in that, and yeah, I lost him. We stuck together. One thing in these Kumais, with the same mob nearly all the time. The only way you missed out there is as they died off. Billy Morris was in another one. He was in the next Kumai to me, because Bill was a private. But we were sort of together most of the time. But that's where we got split up. You see, my Kumai when we got to Tambazayat, and they sent some further on towards Bangkok, and our Kumai got sent back to Whampoa. Well, that's when Bill was sent on then, and Alec Hodgson. He was sent on to one of these other camps further in, closer to Bangkok.
Yes.
So you weren't all together all the time, but you kept sort of meeting up every now and again. Yeah.
Now, you were discharged in January '46. It's a little while. Some people were out early, some were later. Was there a reason why the lapse or the different discharge dates?
I don't know.
Were you at did you go to Karrakatta?
No, we went to, you see, I got taken off in Brisbane by mistake. I think I told you about that, didn't I? I got taken off by mistake. Over the loudspeaker on the Highland Chieftain was the name of the boat we were on. Corporal Earl, report to the officer down at the gangplank. I reported to him. He said, "Oh, with your gear, that's right." So I reported down there, and he said, "Right, we're taking you out to such and such a camp." He said, "You'll be flown back to the west by the first Liberator, which will be leaving tonight sometime." And I said, "Why, what's going on?" They said, "Oh, haven't they told you?" And I said, "No." They said, "Well, your son's seriously ill." I said, "Well, I haven't got a son." He said, "How long you been away?" I said, "About 3.5 years." And he said, "Oh, yeah, you know." And I said, he said, "You're happy you haven't got a son then?" He said, "Well, there must be some mistake." He said, "Righto then, anyway, you'll get a quick trip home." Anyway, I settled down there, and I said, "Oh, that's right." And I said to him, "Well, right, get me back on the boat." He said, "I'm sorry, but the boat's gone." So they flew me down by Qantas, down to Melbourne, to Heidelberg. And the message my wife got that I was coming home on a hospital train with all hospital patients. She expected me to come up on a stretcher. And I'd just about back to my normal weight by then.
Yes.
The way they fed us, and a bottle of beer every day, and you know, I was really fit. And I got off the train there in Claremont, and they were expecting a stretcher patient. And from there, they put me in hospital. They weren't going to let me out because they said, "No, the doctor's got to see you first. You'll probably get leave tomorrow if you apply for it." I said, "But my relations have arranged to take me out to corned beef and carrots for tea tonight. That's all I wanted was corned beef and carrots." And they said, "Well, I'm afraid you can't." Anyway, my uncle was Jack Brady. He was actually the Minister for Police at the time, and he organised an ambulance. So he took me out to his place in Midland, in an ambulance out there, and then back to. He said, "I'll get him back to the hospital tonight." Yeah, and I think the next day went over to Point Walter. There's a discharging centre out there, I think it was. But there's no cooks or anything. Plenty of stuff in the kitchen, the cookhouse, and that you just had to help yourself.
Yes.
And I can't remember much from there on. But I know others, they said, "Well, I'm not staying in this bloody joint." And they used to shoot through and come back, and so I did the same thing. And I think that must be where we were discharged from.
Yes.
Because all I remember, a mate of mine was in the repatriation department then, and he said, "Whatever you do, you've got to get a bit of a pension. Doesn't matter if it's only 10%. Because I said, "I feel fit enough anyway." And he said, "What about all that's been wrong with you?" And I said, "Yeah, but I'm right now." He said, "You apply for a pension." And the best thing I ever did, and I got 10% pension. I had that for years and years and years till they gradually increased.
Yes.
Yeah, that was. Oh, you didn't know Tom Nyland, did you, Annie?
No.
No.
But
Tom,
there wasn't. Did he have a lot of children? Do you know?
No, he didn't have any.
Oh,
No.
well, it must be a relation because
Yeah.
there used to be a Peg Nyland worked in the shop at Manning,
No.
and she was a widow.
Yeah. No, but he was out home earlier than me naturally because he was in bombers over Europe
Yes.
and he was a tail gunner.
Yep.
And the tail gunner got blown off.
Yeah.
Usually they
Yeah.
never come back.
Yeah.
And next thing he's hanging from a tree over in Germany, and there's German soldiers down there aiming at him, you know, and they cut him down, and he was a POW till the end of the war, and then sent. That's when the war in Europe finished, and he was sent home. So he got home before me, and he was in the repatriation department, and he was the one that advised me
Yes.
get some sort of a pension.
Yes.
Yeah, which I'm glad I did. But that was, yeah, that was. I must have been from there that I was discharged.
Now you must have been married at a very young
Yep.
age.
Yeah, I was married just before I went away.
And you know, what did your wife know about where you were, or when did she finally find out that you were a prisoner?
Well, if you're interested, I've got some letters there I'll show you. She didn't hear from me for 3 years. See, we were away 3.5. But 3 years she didn't hear from me, and I got letters there that we had to write out. They're all written out for it. I'm sick, I'm not sick, I'm working, I'm not working, I'm being paid. You've probably seen them, have you?
Familiar with them?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I've got them, and that's the only correspondence she had from me.
And David's probably got a few questions he'd like to put.
Yeah, yes, yeah. At the Burma, on the Burma side of the border,
Line, yeah.
on the border there's some indications of a big depot, supplies and stores and railway depot or something
That was
like that.
Tambazide.
No,
Another one.
No, just inside the border.
Oh, yeah.
Do you
No, I don't know anything about that.
something like
No. Tambazide being the start of the line, that was a very big depot. That's why. Fortunately, we'd left there when they started bombing that. No, I don't remember, David.
Not important.
No.
And at the end of the, toward the end of the war, of course, there was a lot of bombing raids and that sort of thing. But when you were first deployed over there, or forced to go there rather, was there much Allied aircraft activity over the line then?
No, no.
Took
But
a while.
I think it must have been D-Day. In Europe, when the war finished in Europe, they put on a hell of a show, and there was planes over all day. I can remember that because it was overcast and cloudy. You couldn't see them, you could just hear them. It was one continuous roar all day. And I remember, talking and saying there's something going on, there's going to be an invasion or something, because we found out afterwards that was D-Day. And I think it was a show of force and strength, that even though they'd been tied up in Europe, they still had plenty in the Pacific for the Japs. I think that's what it was. But I can remember that, and they were flying low too. It was frightening, over where we were, in the camp we were in.
So basically you had none of that sort of interference. I call it interference if you're being forced to work like...
No, the only time we had interference from the planes was at Wampo, when they used to come round and bomb the bridge. Mainly from the recce plane that used to come over. You'd hear him in the distance, and then within 5 minutes he's turned round, because they used to photograph. It was like that in a half circle, and they used to turn on the side like that and photograph the bridge like that. And within 24 hours the bombs would be over. And they used to bomb the same. They'd come over, had to throw the bombs into it.
They learn how to do that.
Yeah, to throw the bombs into it.
And as bad a line as it kind of like was, the construction thereof, 250 kilometres roughly, it wasn't a bad engineering feat.
I reckon it was bloody amazing.
What sort of supervision did you have? Like railway engineering?